that coffee bot guy wasn't lying. This teleporter really did take me to Earth. But, this city doesn't look familiar.
Citizen, halt.
Halt? Who the crap are you? And where the crap am I?
This is Mega City 1. I am Smoothie Bot, a nutrition dispensing unit recycled from a decommissioned Judge Mechanismo droid. You are in violation of nutrition protocols. Try the Undercity Special.
What's in it?
It consists of sludge, slurry, and extra cucumber.
Sweet mother of Jovis. Extra cucumber? That sounds disgusting.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am Verminator Hallstrom.
Really? Wow, I thought our designations were both going to be judge for this one. I am low-level perpetrator Rohrbacher.
You didn't even go with judge.
Well, that's because you didn't.
Okay. Well, there's another episode. And we are sentenced to life in the isocubes of the Alien franchise.
Somehow I knew you were going to bring up ISO cubes for that one.
You got to bring up isocubes when you're talking
They
about
rule.
Judge Dredd. I don't think they
That's
rule
right.
for the people who are in them.
Oh, okay, you're right. They don't. But that's not the point. The point is, shut up.
Okay, fair enough. Episode over.
Yes. Wait, no, bad.
How's it going, Kenny?
Just chilling. Since last time we recorded, I have seen both Superman and Fantastic Four, and they're both good.
Nice. Okay. I haven't seen either, but I have been watching the 2003, I think, 2002 Birds of Prey TV series.
That is extremely one of the most you sentences you've ever said. Of course you're watching Birds of Prey. Why wouldn't you be watching Birds of Prey?
Not the first time I've watched this show, by the way.
Of course it's not. Of course it isn't.
I've never watched the whole series, but a few days ago I was like, man, you know what? I could go for some Birds of Prey. I could go for some 2000s television superhero hijinks.
Sure you can.
You know, with a relatively low budget. And yeah, I'm feeling a little Mortal Kombat Conquest nostalgic. I'm not gonna lie. And the I can't pull her name right now. This is how disconnected I am. But the lady who plays Kiri in Conquest plays Lady Shiva in at least one episode of Birds of Prey.
Of course, I'm not surprised at all that you know that.
Lee Sung Hai, yeah, Lady Shiva.
Well,
anyway, but enough about bad TV. By the time this episode has released, we've seen several episodes. I think 3 episodes of Alien Earth.
I believe so. Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
But at the time of this recording, we've seen 0.
Yeah, because it comes out as of recording. It comes out in 2 days, so we actually haven't started watching it yet. It hasn't come out, so
I bet we liked it.
I bet we did too. According to a couple of different people, initial reviews so far have been good. So
yeah, reception is positive. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I bet I'm going to enjoy this more than Romulus and more than Birds of Prey.
I'm also going to go out on a limb and guess that there's going to be a big chunk of one episode devoted to you complaining that Duncan Fields is not on the show.
Well, we don't know that he's not there yet, but we'll find.
I'm assuming he's not, and then you're going to be mad about it.
Dude might pop up in Prodigy City.
Of course, yes.
Prodigy City. I'm still mad.
Yeah.
I'm not actually mad about. I'm a little mad about that, guys. Just said it in Chicago. Come on.
Xenomorphs attacking the bean.
Set it in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, there we go, dude. Xenomorphs on the strip, tearing up gamblers left and right.
But I was going to try to add on to that, and I got nothing.
Okay, fair enough.
Froze in my tracks.
Well, I guess we can just get on with the main point of the episode then.
Yeah. What is the topic we're discussing today, Kenny?
Today we are talking about the 2002 to 2003 comic Judge Dredd versus Aliens issues 1 and 2.
Judge Dredd versus Aliens Incubus.
Yes, that's right. I forgot it does have a subtitle, Incubus.
Yeah, 2002, 2003, same years as Birds of Prey was on the air.
What the hell? Why didn't they cross over? What the fuck?
I know, right? What are you gonna do, Kenny?
That's me.
I'm not a Judge Dredd guy. I have seen the Carl Urban movie, which I very much enjoy.
Yeah, good fucking movie. Loved it.
I actually watched it last night.
Yeah, it rocks, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I've seen it more than just last night. I've seen it several times, but I watched it again last night after reading this because I was like, I need to get some more Dredd atmosphere, right? I think I've seen the Stallone movie. I've seen parts of it for sure.
Yeah, I definitely have not. I haven't seen it.
I remember nothing about it at all.
All right.
Except I remember being young enough to think it looked cool.
That's fair.
But this is the first Judge Dredd comic I've ever read.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. Are you a Dredd guy? Have you read? I feel like you've told me that you read some Judge Dredd in your life.
This is definitely not the first Judge Dredd comic I ever read. Back a few years ago, I decided because the comic, like Judge Dredd himself.
Yes.
Doesn't have his own comic. Judge Dredd is one of several comics in a weekly sci-fi anthology comic printed in Britain called 2000 AD.
Sure.
And he's arguably, even though it's an anthology comic, he's like arguably the main character of the comic because it prints weekly and has been printing weekly since the late 70s. Like 77, I think it's 77 is right around there when it came out. And so they've had literally thousands of issues, and he only hasn't been in like 6 of them.
Okay. There's a lot of Dredd out there.
There's a lot of Dredd out there. And so back some years ago, Rebellion, the company that now owns 2000 AD, the same company that made the Alien vs. Predator video games from the mid-late 2000s, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
They started printing what it's called the Judge Dredd Complete Case Files. And it's just reprints of every single Judge Dredd comic.
Gotcha.
And there's dozens of volumes.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
And there's like dozens and dozens of them. And I was like, I'm going to start reading Judge Dredd. And so, of course, I just started at the beginning and then quickly realized that, oh, no, this will consume my entire life. So I read the first volume and like partway into the second volume before I stopped because I was like, I don't think I have the patience to like keep going from this because this is just so much material.
Sure.
So I read but the thing of it is about Judge Dredd is that the comic takes place in real time.
So like when a year passes in the book, it passes in real life, right?
That is correct. So the comic always takes place whenever that issue was released 122 years in the future.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Gotcha.
It takes place 122 years in the future. And so I started reading it, and like the first volume is the first like 50 or so issues, which means the first like year or so of the comic.
Right.
Because since it's from an anthology book, each issue of Judge Dredd, like each story, isn't like a full comic book length. It's only like, 7-8 pages long, something like that.
Okay.
And so I read the first several dozen issues, and then, I kind of bounced off it because I realized how massive the task was in front of me, and I didn't think I had the strength to go through with it.
Yeah.
So I just stopped there. And then probably about 10, 12 years ago, maybe something like that. I think it was IDW started printing their own Judge Dredd comic that was
Right.
like a regular, like 24-page monthly comic book.
Okay. Yes.
Not how 2000 AD releases it. And I started reading that for a little while, and it was fine, and there's nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, I was like, if I'm going to read Judge Dredd, I should read the real Judge Dredd. So I stopped reading that comic and then never picked back up on the real Judge Dredd again.
Yeah. It says here, Dredd is on Dredd. Okay. There's a Dredd magazine.
It's called the Judge Dredd magazine. Get it right?
Pardon me. Yes. And then the IDW publishing series was publishing a variety of Dredd tales. And people like Garth Ennis, Mark Millarbu, Grant Morrison, and John Smith were writing these, but the stories were less popular with fans and sales fell. So people felt the way that you did of like, we're going to read Judge Dredd, we're going to read Judge motherfucking Dredd, right?
Yeah, that's right. The thing of it is that he operates in Mega City 1, which
Sure.
in his first appearance is implied to be a renamed New York City. But in the second appearance, they retconned into New York City just being a section of Mega City 1,
Right.
which is actually huge and takes up almost the entire eastern seaboard of the US.
Yeah.
Like at one point it extended all the way down into the bottom tip of Florida and way into Canada, but like in the stories since, Mega City 1 has since shrunk because a nuclear bomb destroyed big chunks of it.
Right.
So Florida is no longer part of Mega City 1 because it's now just nuclear wasteland. So
Yeah, we were getting there.
But yeah, like I said, it was originally intended to be New York City. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because Judge Dredd is extremely American, but written by Brits.
Yeah.
And turns out the specific type of satire of America that you can get from Judge Dredd
Yes.
has to be done by people not in the US,
Sure.
as it turns out. So
That's why the Stallone movie wasn't very good, right?
it could be, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you've read quite a bit here. Okay. So I'm looking at the Wikipedia here. It says the Judge Dredd Complete Case Files series began in 2005 and is still ongoing as of 2025.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
That's a hell of a lot. And all Judge Dredd stories to appear in 2000 AD from March 1977 to September 2024. That's issues number 2 through issues number 2400.
Yeah, because he wasn't in issue 1. Sorry, they don't call them issues; they call them progs.
Okay.
He first appeared in Prog 2 because he was going to be in the first issue, but the script wasn't done on time, so they had to delay it by a week. So yeah, his first appearance was actually in number 2. And like I said, other than issue 1, he only hasn't been in like 5 or 6 issues of 2000 AD like ever.
Gotcha. And then something like 475 stories in Judge Dredd magazine. Mm-hmm. That's a hell of a lot of Judge Dredd stories, man.
It's a hell of a lot of Judge Dredd. That is why I ultimately decided I don't think, like, it's one of those things where I was like, I could keep going, but it's unlikely I'm going to finish it. And so I may as well just bow out now.
Also, his name is Judge Joseph Dredd.
Joseph Dredd, that is correct. He has an older brother named Rico Dredd, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, and I was looking at the Wikipedia, and apparently they are clones of a different judge.
They are clones of a man named Chief Judge Fargo, I think.
Okay.
I think it's Fargo. They are clones of a previous chief judge who is famous for being the first ever chief judge and the guy that like invented the judge system.
Gotcha.
And he's considered like, you know, one of the great people in like this era of history. And so they cloned him, and the two clones are Joe and his brother Rico. And we find this out in, I think it's like issue 20, maybe, when Rico comes back because Dredd had like arrested him because both of them became judges.
Right.
But Rico turned corrupt, and so Dredd arrested him and sent him off to, I think, Titan for like 20 years of slave labor. Rico went crazy and came back and tried to exact his revenge, and Dredd killed him.
Okay. Wow.
But Rico is also the one that reveals to Dredd that they were clones. And then, of course, that's followed up on later. Dredd himself gets cloned a couple of times. There is actually, he has, I think, 2 clones. I don't remember what the name of one of them is, but the other one actually becomes a judge again himself and takes on the name Rico to like reclaim it and make it become good again. And the original Rico, Dredd's brother, has a daughter, and the two of them have kind of like Dredd and her. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but the two of them are kind of like, they butt heads, but they recognize that they're like family members, and so they try to get along. But Dredd himself is a huge asshole, so it's really hard for people to get along with him.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, he has an older brother that he killed. He has a couple of, like I said, they're clones, but he kind of considers them sons of his. And they never say it in this comic, but the chief judge when this comic was released was a woman named Hershey. And Dredd and Hershey had been friends for years and years at this point. And like, I don't think their relationship ever turned romantic because I'm not sure that Dredd is capable of being in love with someone.
He's married to the law.
Pretty much, yes. But yeah, him and Hershey had been friends for a long time. By the time this comic came out, like, he was there when she first became a judge and like was with her as she rose through the ranks until she eventually got elected. And so like I said, that's not really super relevant to this comic specifically, but Hershey shows up and she's like another like close acquaintance of his, just like his nieces, just like his 2 sons are. So yeah,
it's a pretty good primer. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the other 2 big judges in this comic, Sanchez, I believe, was introduced in this comic. I'm pretty sure. I don't recall her being around before that.
They do refer to her as a rookie in this.
Yeah. Giant, though, is another like major judge from this era of the comic. The 2 of them were friends for a long time. Giant eventually gets killed. And his son, who is also named Giant because it's their last name. So he's referred to as Giant Jr., also becomes a judge and becomes friends with Dredd.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fun that his dad died, but you know.
Yeah.
That Giant Junior is a fun thing to say. Anyway.
Yes.
Yes, okay. That's a pretty good Dredd primer, I think. The only other thing we should say is that the character is was created by writer John Wagner and artist Carlos Ezquerra. And yeah, the way the judges operate, right, is in this mega city they have like full police, judge, jury, and executioner privileges on the street when it comes to confronting criminals. So as they arrest or confront criminals, they sentence them for their crimes. If that includes execution or whatever else, they just carry it out right there.
They sure can. They have full discretion and don't need like warrants or anything.
Yeah.
You mentioned Mega City 1. There is a Mega City 2. There is also a Texas City. There is an equivalent.
Is it bigger, or is everything bigger in it?
That part I'm not entirely sure about.
Okay.
There is
that where all of his exes live?
Thank you.
All right.
There is an equivalent of Mega City 1 somewhere in Russia called I think it's called like East Block 1 or something like that. The entirety.
Wait.
What's up?
It's called
Один.
It's Mega City
Один.
I don't know if you heard that, but I just had the computer play the Russian word for one.
I did not hear that. Thank you.
Okay.
I believe pretty much the entirety of the UK is one big city that's called Brit-Sit, but Sit is spelled with a C because it's short for city.
Okay.
The entirety of Japan is a mega city that I believe is called Hondo, if I recall. So Mega City 1, my point is it's not the only one. Like, mega cities are like a thing. That's
Sure.
how like society and civilization exists now. Just giant swaths of like hundreds and hundreds of miles are just one big, huge city state in and of itself.
Okay.
And the area in between all of the city states is referred to as the Cursed Earth.
Yes.
And it's basically just like a blown out nuclear like wasteland filled with like freaks and mutants and stuff.
Okay.
And there have been several stories where Dredd gets sent into the Cursed Earth to do whatever. There was a story where he gets sent to the moon, which has its own mega city that's called Luna 1. So yeah, that's basically the world of Judge Dredd, is that these huge giant city states inside of a nuclear wasteland that are run by judges. Judges are they're like, no pun intended, they're the law. They're like, the police force, but they're also the governments of the cities as well.
Right. This is just full on kind of fascist police states.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that they've satirized the entire time, the entire run of the comic, but until recently, never really dealt with directly what it means to have a literally fascist government operating the world. That has only recently in the comics been something that they have directly been dealing with.
Yeah.
One other thing.
I wonder why that's coming up now. Anyway,
one other thing I wanted to note is that since I mentioned that the comics take place in real time and this book was released in 2003, roughly 25 or so years after it started, Judge Dredd is canonically the character himself is canonically in his early 60s when this comic takes place.
yes, but he does rejuvenation treatments, right? That's the
He does eventually, about 12, 15 years later, in 2016, I think it was, they did a comic where he is forcibly given rejuvenation treatment, and it de-ages him, but he elects not to have it done to his skeleton or his organs, like his internal organs.
Okay.
But like his skin and muscle tissue and stuff gets rejuvenated to someone in his like our age, like early mid 30s, which is roughly how old he was when the comic started in 1977.
As one last detail we touched on, you touched on it with the moon city. Space travel is, and I think you mentioned on it with his brother being on a work camp in Titan. Space travel is a thing in this universe, right? There are people who travel the stars.
There are.
Which is a perfect way to get aliens into this universe.
And that's actually the excuse they use to get them into this universe.
Yeah, they don't really have to try. They're just able to do it, Oh,
speaking of you mentioning, getting them into this universe, I don't know if this is an actual explicit editorial mandate or not, but one fun thing about Judge Dredd, the comic, is that anything that happens in a Judge Dredd issue, like be it 2000 AD or the Judge Dredd magazine, anything printed in the pages of 2000 AD or the magazine is permanently canon forever.
Hell yeah. I love that.
So like still to this day, it is true that in the pages of 2000 AD, Judge Dredd has fought xenomorphs. That is literally true and will be true forever. Even though like it's the way AVP works in that the Judge Dredd Aliens crossover is not canon to Alien, but it is canon to Judge Dredd. Because everything is canon to Judge Dredd. In the pages of Judge Dredd, he has canonically fought Batman 4 times. You know?
Love it.
For instance, like, yeah, if it appears in the pages of Judge Dredd, it is always and permanently canon by editorial mandate, as far as I can tell, no matter what, regardless of due to like licensing issues or whatever, it does not matter. It is still true that he has fought xenomorphs, he has met Lobo, he's fought a predator. All that stuff is true and will be forever.
Beautiful.
So
I love that. I love that approach. They're just like, yeah, we're not gonna delete this just because somebody else, a license changed hands somewhere else.
That's right. They're not going to write stuff out of canon. This is Judge Joseph Dredd's life, and that's just how it is, you know?
Fantastic. All right.
Yep.
Let's dive into this thing. This book was this book ran in the pages of 2000 AD first. Prague numbers 1322 through 1335, but we are reading the Dark Horse Comics editions, which was 4 issues, right?
Yep.
Yeah, printed I guess at around the same time.
Yeah, I believe, if I recall correctly, since 2080 is weekly, but the Dark Horse version is monthly, I think it was just every like 3 or 4 issues of 2080 that came out, they would just round it up and compile it into one issue. But I don't think they started printing it until it was almost done in 2080.
Okay. And
I think, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
And this was written by John Wagner, creator of Judge Dredd, and Andy Diggle, who I just read Andy Diggle's Green Arrow Year One last week, I think.
Yeah, I know he's done some stuff that has like gotten famous, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you anything specific he'd read, but I know the name. So
yeah, he's a good writer. I like him. Green Arrow Year One was pretty good. I've been on a Green Arrow kick. We don't have time. And it was illustrated by Henry Flint and colored by Chris Blythe with letters by Tom Frame. It's got covers by Kev Walker, Greg Staples, Fraser Irving, and Jock. That's the 4 covers. Jock also provided variant covers for the 2080 covers.
I believe during the run of it in 2080, some of the issues of 2080 had Judge Dredd vs. Aliens covers, and then I believe they just reused those covers as the covers of the Dark Horse issues.
Yes, and this thing fucking ruled, dude.
Yeah, this comic is fucking fun as hell, isn't it?
This was great. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. This was kind of given me. I think we made this comment. I mean, it's just the style and the time and the whatever, right? I mean, not the time really, but just the style. This was giving me vibes of the Alien illustrated story. You know. Where it was just like, in terms of just like the art and the colors and the way the violence is depicted. But this series was really fun to read. It didn't fuck around. Just immediately it's throwing you into the shit. You know?
No joke, man. It is insane how violent this comic is.
It is. And I'm just...
And I'm not saying that as like a detriment. It's a lot of fun and I was hooting and hollering.
Yeah.
But just everyone, if you do read this, be very aware there is a reason it is called Judge Dredd versus Aliens with an S on the end, because this is very much evoking the feeling of the second movie where giant armies of dudes with huge guns are mowing down swarms of xenomorphs by the dozen.
Yeah. There's no suspense in this. Okay. This is
there is not. That is correct.
This is not Alien. It's not even Aliens. It's Judge Dredd versus Aliens.
It is Judge Dredd killing swarms of Xenos with a huge gun. It rules.
Issue 3 was just a giant firefight between a bunch of judges and a bunch of xenomorphs. Right.
And I absolutely love how many people get fucking completely destroyed by just getting doused with acid. It rules.
Oh my God. It's so much. All right.
Let's just get into it. I mean, we're just going into it. Listeners, be aware this comic fucking rules. Let's get into
this.
This
was great. And I don't want every Alien comic to be like this. That's I think the disclaimer I want to put up front. I had a great time reading this. I don't want this to be all Alien comics. Okay. I really, really don't.
Yeah, like neither do I. But the fact that this one was like exactly what the cover promised is, I'm chef kissing right now.
Yeah. I'm in danger of sounding like this is what I want all the time. It's not, but it's what I wanted out of this book. All right.
Yeah, like I said, I have gone on record before that I much prefer the first movie over the second movie. That being said, this comic I was hooting and hollering the whole time.
Yeah. All right. So, issue 1 cover, right?
Rocks.
Judge Dredd kind of like grappling with a xenomorph face to face with him, right?
Yeah.
It's more or less it.
Spoiler alert. All the covers for this comic all fucking rock.
It's almost like they escalate each cover, I think. I don't know if that holds true, but in my memory, that's what happens. As we look at them, we'll see how true that is.
My favorite is the one for issue 2. It really makes me laugh. It's definitely the funniest one of the 4.
Same.
But that's probably my favorite of the 4, but all 4 of the covers are great and rule.
There's also a nice variant here. I think this must have been one of the Jock variants from 2000 AD, where it's like the xenomorph face and Judge Dredd's face kind of like back to back, right? Like facing away from each other.
Yeah, but they meld into each other, and literally my first note is sick cover, but extremely sick first page where the two heads morph together.
Yeah, and you see like a field of ovomorphs morphing into the blocks of the mega city, right?
Yeah, it rocks. It's so fucking cool.
Yeah, a lot of great imagery in this. And right away in page 1, we learn that there's a new power tower being built to power the Mega City 1, where they are burrowing down into the earth through what's called the Undercity, which is the old ruins of the old cities that the new city is built on top of.
Yep.
Into the Earth's crust to drag up magma for energy to power the Mega City, right?
Yeah, they're basically using magma as like the power source to run this power tower to like keep the mega city going. The problem is that there is a group of protesters called the Earth Mothers that are
led by Duncan Fields.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're protesting this thing getting built, and of course, Dredd himself, our boy Joe, gets sent in to quell the protest, let's say.
I think anyone ever calls him Joey?
I do not think that, no.
And it's like 6 months in the ISO cubes if you call him Joey.
Yeah, he definitely likes sending people to ISO cubes, doesn't he? He does that like he does that to an old lady extremely hilariously.
He's gonna send an old lady to the ISO cubes.
We'll get there.
It's not funny.
No, it's very funny. Trust me.
No, it is. All right. Yes. So he's been Joey Dredd's been dispatched to deal with these demonstrators and make them disperse. And they're literally driving their motorcycles through the protesters and like kicking them.
Yep, they sure are.
Him and who we learn is the new rookie Sanchez, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
that is correct.
And definitely some other judges. And meanwhile,
he's definitely not the only one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a guy sweating and running through, trying to get through. You know, he jumps out of a car because all the traffic's being held up by this demonstration. He's running through all this, trying to get to the hospital. Right. He doesn't have time.
And we find out later that he has the extremely hilarious name of Jimson Godber. And that is one thing that always makes me laugh about Judge Dredd is that the side character names are almost always extremely stupid. Yeah. Like, let's be real, man. How good is the name Judge Giant? Not good. It's a terrible name. Giant is a dumb last name for a character, but you see it and go, Judge Giant? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, that's a good name for a judge, I guess.
Yeah, Jimson Godber is this dude's name. And like you said, he's sweating, he's not looking good, and he needs to get to the hospital so bad that he jumps out of his car and runs off. But as he does, two other guys in a nearby car, one of whom is named Footsie for some reason, realizes it's Godber, and they're like, hey, what the fuck? And they start trying to shoot at him and stop him and claiming that he stole something of theirs.
Yes. Meanwhile, Judge Dredd has gotten they've gotten the riot under control. The demonstration under control. I don't want to call it a riot. It's just a demonstration.
Yeah, and he also puts all of them in 6 months of ISO cube, by the way.
Plus mandatory rehab.
Yep.
And then they get the reports of shots fired, and so they go. So Giant and Sanchez go with him to check it out. As they're getting close to the hospital where Jimson, a.k.a. Jimmy, is being chased by Footsie.
Well, he's actually not being chased by Footsie. He's being chased by the other guy in the car that isn't Footsie.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Who we find out very soon is named Jeremiah.
Right.
But Jeremiah demands, hey, where's the thing you stole? And he's like, leave me alone, I'm sick. And then Jeremiah says, a hugger? When he says something got him, and that's when we as readers first go, aha, I know what that is.
We understand.
And then Jimmy reveals that, it was definitely a hugger. And so Jeremiah's like, all right, I'll just kill you now. Mercy kill you to get it over with. And then Dredd shows up, and there's a very hilarious sequence where Dredd's like, drop your weapon. And Jeremiah, instead of immediately doing that, goes, fuck, judges. And then Dredd goes, aha, my chance, and then just fucking shoots Jeremiah.
Standard execution, and shoots him through the neck, it looks.
Yeah.
I want to comment here. Jeremiah's wearing those glasses that are just like a band that goes across your eyes with a slit all the way across. Yep. Like
sure is.
Like was it Rocksteady? Either Bebop or Rocksteady wore them in Ninja Turtles, I think, or maybe I'm thinking of Krang's robot body.
And fucking what's his face from Next Generation?
They're kind of like LeVar Burton's visor, but they're like the punk glasses, like the mutants wore in Dark Knight Returns.
Yes.
Yeah, I want a pair. I've never seen a pair of these in real life, but I want a pair so bad. Maybe I'll figure out how to make that the thumbnail. Anyway, we'll post it on Blue Sky.
That's right. But yeah, they shoot Jeremiah and he dies. And we find out that there's a little side note here that Jeremiah is a group of like he's a member of like this notorious group that is like a faction of people that are explicitly anti-judge. That seems like it's just some narrative fluff to explain how Dredd knows who he is, but him being an anti-judge activist is actually important to the comic later on. Yes. So keep that in mind.
Meanwhile, they're trying to secure the crime scene. And
Godber is not looking good.
They're trying to see what's going on. He's got his leg wound. Sanchez is checking on him. He starts convulsing. They're at the hospital, so they bring a doctor over, and they're going to administer a sedative when suddenly something rips out of his chest, everybody.
Yeah, it sure does. And what that thing is turning the page. It is an ad for Bulletproof Monk.
I was just going to say.
What comes out of his chest.
Italian Fat Sean William Scott classic Bulletproof Monk.
So Dredd has the classic line, Drock, when the thing comes out of Godber's chest. And someone else says, oh, sweet grud, which really makes me laugh.
I love made up slang. I used to think it was so stupid when they would do this shit. When I'm like, why don't you just use real like words? Like, why you got to make up weird slang terms for things, right? but I've totally changed my mind on this because it is so much fun to write this stuff. Right.
Now that you did it for the intros, you're like, actually, it rules.
And when I got to write it for the Steel Egg intro, when I was like, don't get fripped, or whatever, I was like, okay, now I see why they do it. Now I see why they do it in this comic. Every single page, someone says, "Oh, Grud," because it's fun and they're just having fun doing it.
They sure are. But yeah, Godber gives birth to a chest burster, and Dredd tries to grab it and kill it, but it manages to escape into a vent before he can. And so he's basically like, oh shit, I have no idea what that thing is. So he calls up, what are they called? The Verminators.
The Verminator Squad, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And basically a group of trained soldiers, trained to deal with animal pests and stuff.
Yeah, I want to say classic chestburster behavior to find a vent and get in it real fast.
That's what they do. They love vents.
They're so good at it.
And while he's waiting for the Verminators to show up, he basically checks Godber's body and finds like a card with his address on it.
Yes. They're like, let's go check out his home, find out what's going on.
And meanwhile, the Verminators show up and we're introduced to them. And basically imagine the writers were like, hey, remember the squad of Marines from Aliens? Let's do that again.
Let's kind of do that. But they're not as good. But it's the same thing. Also, one of them's named Millar, and then another one later I think is named Brubaker.
Brubaker. Yeah. There's a Brubaker. Yep.
So they're they're doing a thing here, right?
They sure are.
But yeah. So who's the leader of this squad? What's her name?
Packer, I believe.
Packer. Yes.
I believe it's Packer. There is a Fisk and a Marinello who are dating or engaged, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Wilson and a Fisk. I get it. Okay.
There is also a big fat guy whose name is Butterman.
All right. Okay.
Because of course it is.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a little bit of the Verminators trying to figure out what they're dealing with, because this is also something that they've never seen before.
Yeah, and they're trying to get the hospital evacuated, but the head of the hospital is like, I can't do that. We have 8,000 patients. We can't move them all. And so they're like, all right, fine, just seal everything up and limit, confine movement, to essential personnel and us. Can you do that? And he's like, fine, all right.
And then we cut to the Poughkeepsie Apartments, which is where Godber lived, and he lives there with his mom, who is the old lady we were talking about earlier.
Yes, spoiler alert.
And the three of them being Dredd, Giant, and Sanchez, are basically just searching the apartment.
Yeah,
and
ransacking.
His mom,
you might call it ransacking.
You might. And his mom mentions that Godber was involved in animal pit fighting in the Undercity and had been talking about how he found a new really good animal to use, and she didn't know exactly what it was, but she had her suspicions.
Yeah. And then they find a key card.
They find a key card, yeah.
They find a gun and a key card that's got a code number on it for a rental warehouse, and they're like, all right, we're going to go check that out.
And then Dredd has an extremely hilarious conversation with Godber's mother, where he's like, you do know pit fighting is illegal, right? And she goes, oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Anything he did was illegal. And then he has the classic line, in that case, I have no alternative but to arrest you for failing to report suspicion of a crime. Sentences 12 months in the ISO cubes.
Yeah, wait here, you will be collected.
I love Dredd so much. He is so fucking funny,
God
dude.
Damn it. He's like, oh yeah, okay. By the way, old lady, you're going to jail for a year now. Yep.
And so they head out, and then it cuts back to the Verminators, who sent out a little drone camera through the ducts to try and trace the path of where the chest burster went.
Yeah, and they find that the ducts have been kind of melted through, right? They're flying their thing around. They detect some motion. They zero in on it, and we see before they see.
Yep.
That the little boy's gotten big, huh?
He sure has. He's fully grown now, and he destroys the little drone camera. And they're like, "What the heck?"
They say, "Holy sugar!"
Yeah.
We see the double jaws on their monitor screen right before the drone is destroyed.
And then the trio, which again, Sanchez, Giant, Dredd, they get to the rental warehouse.
More than a trio. I'm counting here the trio and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They get to the warehouse and then find out that the Hall of Justice has sent backup. So there's a whole bunch of additional judges that also show up to help them out.
Fair point. Yes. Control thought you might need reinforcements. Yeah. You got it.
And so they swipe the card, get in there, and find the place empty and abandoned with one dead body. This body has clearly been broken open from inside through the chest, and it is next to an open ovomorph. Yes. Also, nobody calls attention to it right away, but down in the corner of the panel, there is another ovomorph that is not open. Hint, hint. They're investigating. They see the eggs. They check out the body. They find some dead face huggers. That's fun.
Someone's like, is that the thing that got loose at the hospital? And Dredd's like, negative. One of these judges is named Earl. It doesn't matter what their names are, though.
Another one, the brew baker we mentioned earlier, happens to be standing next to that other ovo when it opens up, and then he gets face hugged for his trouble.
The face huggers look gross in this. There is so much detail on their backs, right?
Yeah, they're like ridged and scaly in a way they hadn't been before. Yeah, they're really gross looking.
Like centipedes, right?
Yeah.
Or something. The eggs have a lot of detail on them too. It's really, really gross. Just, ugh.
And another judge named Pitt pulls out a big knife to cut the face hugger off. And Pitt, she finds out the hard way that this thing has acid blood when it burns her fingers off.
Really graphically, she cuts it. The acid splashes on her fingers and burns all of 4 of her fingers off.
And so they're like, well, we don't know what the fuck to do. And then all of that acid splashes onto the floor and eats right through it.
And we cut back to the hospital where the Verminators are flying through the vent shaft.
Yeah, they have little jetpack things, and they're flying around tracing the path that the drone was following.
Yeah,
trying to find the big alien.
It's Fisk and Millar. Fisk has some kind of studded weapon. It looks like a gun, but I don't know that it really is. And then Millar's got like a trapper, like you'd catch a crocodile with.
Yeah, like a big I was going to say a big net or a hook or something.
Right.
But the type of one that dog catchers use, where it's a big loop on the end, kinda. Except this is made entirely out of metal.
Right.
They find a shed skin, and so they know, oh yeah, that's how they figure out this is the same thing that they were chasing earlier. We cut back to Pitt, and we see another good close-up shot of her ruined hand.
Yes.
And Dredd sees the xenomorph's tail crawling around on the ceiling.
Yeah, and they this is fun.
And a Gomer starts taking pot shots at it.
Yeah, so we got a Rouse, and we've got a Gomer, and then Sanchez says holy, and then he's like, holy isn't the word I'd choose. The one I had in mind is posthumous, or that's Rouse says that, and then Gomer says, drop that big sucker, and opens fire. Hits it.
Yeah. Hits it, and then Neil, I was just about to say, Neil, you want to tell us what happened, but you asked me to, and I would be glad to.
Yeah.
He gets really pissed off and fires at the xenomorph and hits it, winging it, dousing him in acid and melting half of his body off.
Melting, yeah. His head, his helmet, his face, his shoulder. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it rules.
With a classic drock as it's happening, right?
Yeah. And
Sanchez then says, "Oh dear Grud."
Yeah, Sanchez has a great "Oh dear Grud" looking at Gomer's corpse, and then Dredd has the genius idea of using his little hook shot to latch up there and try and find it in person because they can't see it in infrared, whatever it is.
Right. So their heat seeker rounds won't work. So he grapples up there. Sanchez is like, you can't go up there. It's too dangerous. And he's like, I'm dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Calls for some light, face to face with the thing. And he's like,
yeah.
I take it reasoned discussion is out of the question. He cuts right to the chase. Unlike Superman, who was thinking he could negotiate with a xenomorph.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, he just immediately starts firing on this thing, but by this point knows it has acid blood, so he dodges out of the way of it, but it still eats a huge hole in the floor he's standing on.
Yes.
And both of them fall in, although Dredd manages to grab onto something.
Yes.
The xenomorph falls onto the ground and if I'm interpreting this panel correctly, kills Rouse with a tail through the chest, I believe.
I think so. It's falling towards Rouse, and Dredd shouts for him to move, and Rouse doesn't, and then it looks like he gets sliced with the tail, cut through like the chest, and it knocks his badge off.
And then Earl has the extremely good idea of using a high explosive round to kill the xenomorph, which works, and it blows the xenomorph up, but it also completely douses him head to toe in acid.
This guys.
It rules so hard, man.
He goes, how about high X? And Dredd says, Earl, no. And then he fires Varoom.
Yeah, with a big Varoom.
You just see Earl, what's left of him standing, his whole front covered in acid. And the acid is rendered so disgustingly in this. I don't know that Mad Magazine ever did this, but do you know that Cracked Magazine how they would depict pus?
Yeah, I read Cracked.
It looks like that.
It's really gross. It fucking rules.
Yeah.
And he's dead as hell, as you may imagine.
And he's so drenched in acid that he falls over and eats a giant hole.
Like a giant hole. Like probably 20 feet wide through the floor.
Just from the acid explosion of this xenomorph. Like that's how exploded this. Like we haven't seen a xenomorph get this exploded in anything.
Yeah.
It's just acid. It just became pure acid.
It just became a gigantic bag of acid that just blew up in his face. And Dredd is like, oh no, those Verminators need to be informed literally right now about what these things are.
We got to get back there. We cut back to the hospital. Detectors are picking up movement, right? They're still moving through the vents. Millar, the leader, I already forgot her name. I apologize.
Packer.
I was about to say Perkins. Packer's gets on the radio. She's like, Millar, I'm getting new orders. The hospital's being evacuated, and we are ordered to, under no circumstances, confront this creature. Do you guys hear me? And they're like, no, we're there. We're almost there. We're close, right?
Yeah, Millar goes in anyway, and then for his trouble, gets his head cut off.
He just gets his head just slice. Yep.
Yeah, literally just sliced directly off.
And Fisk is like, Millar. The end.
And surprisingly, to my actual legitimate surprise when I turned the page, that is the end of the issue.
That's the end of issue 1. Again, this book doesn't fuck around, right?
Yeah, it rocks.
Yeah, it just gets you right into it. All right. You want to get into to issue 2 real quick here?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Issue 2, this cover
is the best.
My favorite cover.
It is the best one. It is my favorite cover of the 4 issues. It rules.
Yeah. This cover is by Jock. Okay.
All right.
And this is Judge Dredd holding a chest burster in one hand and holding his lawgiver pistol in its mouth with the other.
Yeah, he has the barrel of it inside of the burster's mouth, and it's still like dripping with blood.
Everything's
it's extremely funny, and it really makes me laugh.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is great, just hilarious." Okay, so we pick up at it's Eisenhower General Hospital. We're right there.
Yep.
Millar's decapitated body is still sitting there.
Floating around, yeah.
Fisk is like, oh shit, the Freaker, that's what they're calling this thing. The Freaker just killed Millar. And it's moving too fast. I lost it. I can't get it. And then
and Marinello decides to go in there because Marinello and Fisk are the couple that are dating, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm coming in to save you." And then Packer tells him not to, but he does anyway. And so Packer's like, "Grud, damn it,
grud, damn it!"
And so her, Wilson, and Meyer go in with him.
Yes. Fisk is looking for this thing. She lost track of it in the vents. Finally, someone comes on the radio and says, "Fisk, there's movement behind you." And she's
like the group is approaching her, but before they manage to actually get her, the xenomorph appears behind her and turns the inside of her helmet into blood.
Yes. Oh, Grud, it's on me. Help me. But
And Marinello freaks out and starts firing at it, but one shot goes wide and goes through the fuel tank on her jetpack, causing a huge explosion and burning Meyer alive, killing him.
Yeah, man. Oof. These guys are unprepared. I love this panel of when the xenomorph is behind Fisk, like ready to strike, like it just snuck up on her.
Yeah, it looks like it's almost standing on her back right behind her. Yeah.
I think when she says it's on me, I think she literally means it's on me.
I didn't, it's right. I didn't even notice the speech bubble at first. Yeah, it is literally standing on her. Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, Meyer's dead now, right? They're all dying. Okay. So Packer's like, everybody stand down. We're all dying out here. She calls out to Orson. Orson, do you have a fix on that creature? I don't even remember an Orson, but okay.
I want to say Orson's the bald one that's not the fat guy, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Maybe his name is Orson Butterman.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marinello freaks out, not quite understanding what happens. And then Wilson is like, "Bro, 3 people are dead because of you. What the fuck do you think you're doing?"
Yeah. And then he's like, "What are we up against?" And Wilson says, "It ain't Tinkerbell." Meanwhile, hospital evacuation. The judges are now on the scene. They've left the warehouse and they've arrived at the hospital, where we see the hospital being evacuated. And a woman is terrified because her baby's still in there. And the hospital's like, don't worry. We'll get it. All right.
Yep, and they don't land on like the ground level. They land further up and decide to break in partway through up the building.
Mm-hmm.
We'll leave the exact classification of what the alien is to the techs, and they spell it TEK, which I like.
Yeah, a lot of fun spelling in this. Let's concentrate on taking it out.
But yeah, they try opening up the door and they hear something on the other side of the door. Neil, do you want to guess what that something probably is?
If I had to guess, probably an alien.
Yeah, with a big shrang, the xenomorph bursts through the door with a big Drock from Dredd.
Oh, Drock. I hate when you get a Drock from Dredd.
I hate it. I mean, things are bad. And so he starts firing at the xenomorph because that's what he does. He knows that's bad news, but he's still going to do it literally every single time.
Yeah.
And I believe he does wing it, I'm pretty sure, but it manages to escape into the maternity ward.
And now it's loose in the hospital, to the OBGYN maternity ward. Yes.
Yeah.
Where there is a nurse who's like, "Oh no, they seem to have forgotten us."
it cuts to the maternity ward, and there is one nurse holding a baby, and she's like, well, they seem to have forgotten us, but don't worry, I'll make sure to take care of you. You're going to be safe.
Yes.
You're all going to be fine. And then as she's saying that, we get xenomorph drool land right next to her, and she looks up, and there is a xenomorph like 4 feet away from her.
Yeah, sweet mother of Jovis. It's right there. Point of clarification. She is holding one baby, but this place is full of babies.
Yes, there's a whole bunch of them. There's
Yes.
like presumably dozens.
Did I mention that I watched the Flash movie?
The new one?
Yeah, the only one.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I watched it.
Okay, I did not know that. No.
Have
Is
you-
it as bad as everyone said?
So you haven't seen it?
I have not. No.
Yeah, it fucking sucked.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sorry, but it was a bad movie. And there's this like scene where he rescues all these babies from a hospital that's collapsing because of a sinkhole or something.
All right.
I'm just mad about it still.
Oh, okay. So seeing this just reminded you of how bad that movie was. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
That's all. Nobody cares, right?
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't. I have no plans on seeing it. So
Don't waste your time. I watched it on Tubi.
it's on Tubi already, huh?
It was on Tubi. That's how good the Flash movie is. They stuck it on Tubi.
But yeah, this nurse sees the xenomorph standing right there, but luckily she manages to get away because she's the one that like tells the judges it's in the maternity ward. And we see a xenomorph get really, really close to one of the babies and hiss at it, but the baby just goos and gaws at it. And
how does she get away?
Dredd decides to get its attention to pull it away from the babies, as he even says one stray shot could turn this ward into a morgue.
Right. The guy who just opened fire on it, a few minutes ago was like, "Hey, remember they have acid blood."
And so he distracts it, and it comes after him. And during the fight, the two of them fly through a window, breaking through it, and then land on top of a passing, speeding train, or a zoom, as he calls it.
He says to it, "Come on, fella, you tried to take me once. Care for a rematch?" He didn't. I mean, that was a different xenomorph. He's just speaking in general terms, I guess. Mm-hmm. He's just talking, right? He's just talking to get it to say something. He doesn't actually think this is the same one he fought before.
Yeah.
He's not that stupid, right?
Well, yeah, because remember, the one he fought earlier got blown up.
I'm just checking in. He's like 60-something years old. I want to make sure his mental faculties are all there.
That's fair.
Also, the xenomorph looks sick. Like the way the xenomorphs are drawn in this is really, really good, in my opinion. A lot of detail on them.
They make... Yeah, I was just about to say they make sure to give it a lot of really gross detail that looks really fun.
Yeah.
Also, the panel where the xenomorph knocks him through the open window. Look at how the xenomorph's feet are drawn.
Oh yeah, with all the toes sticking out. And
it's cool.
It is cool.
Like,
yeah. Major props to Henry Flint.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. His xenomorphs look really fucking cool. And I cannot imagine how satisfying it must have been for him to be like the illustrator on Judge Dredd and then gets the note. It's like, hey, how would you like to draw a bunch of xenomorphs? Who would say no? You know?
Yeah, that rules.
I bet he was fucking thrilled to be able to draw xenomorphs for a living.
Yeah, and he's killing it. So when they land on the train here, this detail of like when you see the jaw, like the xenomorph open its mouth and the jaw coming out, that just looks great. He's anyway. This train scene looks sick too.
Yeah, he lands and his gun goes flying, losing that. And so he ends up ripping off a piece of piping from the top of the train to use that as a weapon. Sorry, I was wrong. That happens in a few panels. This right now is him holding on to the edge so he doesn't fall off.
Gotta hang on.
But then he pulls out the genius idea of pulling out a road flare and throwing it directly into the xenomorph's mouth, which clearly does a lot of shit to him. And so, or as he says, that cleared its sinuses. So he pulls himself up and rips the piece of piping off and then seemingly stabs the xenomorph in the throat with the end of the pipe, I guess.
Hold on. I'm reading the details of Babylon 5 Season 2 on DVD.
Oh, well, there's another ad right after that, too.
Road flare in the xenomorph's mouth, and then stabs it like through its neck jaw area.
Like from the side, though, not from the front, like skewers it.
Yeah,
and then fucking kicks it right in the ass over his shoulder, flying off into nowhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, as one guy says, sweet grud in a basket, the acid from the neck wound starts leaking, like burning through the ceiling and leaking into the train. And then, like I said, Dredd gives it the big old boot and it goes flying off the train tracks, down, and then blows up, hitting the ground, which creates a big, huge, giant cavern to the Undercity.
A massive one. Like, these things are making gigantic holes in the ground. It's crazy.
Yeah, it rules.
It's cool, so cool, but it's wild. And then he pops his head in the train because some of that acid dropped through, and he's like, hey, is everyone all right in there? Right?
Yep.
Yeah. We cut to this big, huge hole, and then we cut over to the Grand Hall of Justice. Yes, not to be confused with the Hall of Justice, where the Justice League hang out.
That's right. And that's correct. And we cut to Brubaker, who is naked except for his helmet, and he still has the face hugger on him, and he's like strapped up to like medical equipment. And this is the scene where people yet again discover the biology of the face.
Yeah, it goes pretty quick though.
It does. It takes less than a page. It's like half a page, something like that.
And they're very clearly saying like this thing's putting an embryo in him. This is not
they very clearly and obviously make that explicit. Yes, it implanted something in him.
It's not going it's transferring enzymes that are going to grow a thing. It's losing mass as it's implanting mass on him. It's not doing that modern sort of take. It's very much embryo, bam, in the guy.
Yeah. And then he catches up with Giant and Sanchez, and then
I don't like this when he's like, "Where's Sanchez?" and Giant's like, "She's seeing a shrink because she's shaken up pretty bad because she's new and not used to seeing creepy crawlies hatching out of people." And then Dredd's like, "Yeah, well, none of us are, but we deal with it and we get on with the job."
Yeah, and like I said earlier, he is a huge asshole.
Yeah, he kind of sucks.
But the three of them lead a briefing with a bunch of other judges to basically, let them know about what's going on. And we discover that the body they found in the warehouse is one of Godber's neighbors. Who the two of them got into a argument about a noise complaint, and Godber figured, hey, not only can I get one of those animals to fight in the pits with, but I can also get rid of this neighbor that I hate. And so he implanted the guy with a chest burster and killed him.
Guy who listens to skash music.
Yeah, skash, if you can call it music, Giant says.
Which is a future term for ska music, I'm willing to bet.
And basically they confirm officially that he was breeding them to use in the fight pits, but he himself got impregnated. And then they question where Godber even managed to get a hold of them, because he's just like a low level, like petty crook kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then this is when Dredd lets them know that Jeremiah pursued them, and then he says, sadly, Jeremiah is no longer alive to tell us why, conveniently leaving out the fact that he is the guy that killed Jeremiah.
Yes. He's like, however, traffic cams caught Jeremiah with
Footsie.
Frank Rim, a.k.a. Footsie.
They see that Footsie is still alive, and so hey, if we find Footsie, we'll find the information we're looking at, because he is also a member of the anti-Judge Brigade.
Yes. So now,
And then, go ahead.
well, now we're going to the Undercity.
That's right. We cut to Footsie, who's heading into the Undercity.
Right.
And he sees this gross little weird reptile thing screaming at him.
Yeah.
And then he gets stopped by some mutants as he gets in there who seem to know him. And as Footsie even said, the gloops really hit the grinders. And and he came to warn someone named Mr. Bones, who this is the first time we've ever heard of Mr. Bones. But apparently he's some kind of leader of the Undercity, and he's going to be pissed off to find out that the gloops hit the grinders.
Yes. And whoever the mutants he's talking to, they're like, yeah, you got to come give him the bad news yourself, Footsie. He likes to hear it. Mm-hmm. We're not going to tell him for you, you know. One thing that's crazy, not crazy, I didn't realize this about the mutants. We see one later who's got like an arm growing out of his head, like Futurama mutant style.
He sure does. That guy rules so hard. I love him.
So like the mutants are like cartoon mutants in this, right? It's like
they're like you said, they're Futurama sewer mutants. That's what these guys are.
Yeah, this is the Undercity is basically it's the Futurama
old New York. Yeah. And in this case, it literally is New York because they end up going to Grand Central Station at one point.
Yeah, I'm sure that's where they got the idea from. You know, well, I mean, parallel thinking maybe, but I'm sure, you know. Anyway.
And so we cut to the trio, and Sanchez and Giant and Dredd are investigating where Footsie went. And they get a recording of him talking to his girlfriend, the two of them are planning to leave town.
Yes.
And this is the point where the xenomorphs are first referred to as an incubus, hence the subtitle of the name or the comic.
The Incubus. Right.
Yeah. The girlfriend lives in Malcolm X block because all of the big like apartment complexes are all named after famous people.
Yeah. There's a Harry Dean Stanton block we'll find later.
There's a Rick Astley block, but not mentioned in this comic. Right. There is one though. Yep.
Yeah, and that was never going to give you up.
Thank you. And so, yeah, we see them continuing to investigate the case. We cut back to the Undercity, and Footsie is telling Mr. Bones that Jeremiah's dead, and people know about the Incubus now. And then we get our first glimpse of Mr. Bones, who looks pretty fucked up. And it's hard to tell whether he's a mutant or not. Because of how weird he looks.
Yeah.
Turns out he is a mutant, but I believe the implication is that his mutant like modifications are not the way he looks. He is a mutant, and then also separately, he now looks like this for reasons unrelated to being a mutant.
Yes. We do learn why. Before we get too far on, I wanted to talk about the Incubus thing. They define the Incubus, a Giant defines the Incubus as an evil spirit said to descend on sleeping women and impregnate them with demon offspring.
Which is true.
Yeah, so that's the definition of an Incubus. Is that what the fucking band named themselves after?
Yeah, an Incubus is the male version of succubus. Yes, that's correct.
That like shitty like surf rock band writing songs about how the sky looks like a blanket with holes punched in it.
That is correct. You are correct.
You know who I don't wish they were here.
I see someone's not a fan of Brandon Boyd.
I'm genuinely not. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, that's fair. But yes, he, like I said, if you know what a succubus is, the Incubus is a male succubus.
Oh, I learned something. Correct. I learned something today, guys. All right, back to Mr. Bones, and I don't mean Carl Urban's character from the Star Trek movie.
You don't, even though since we're talking Dredd, Carl Urban is in fact related.
Whoa.
Mr. Bones takes Footsie for a walk, and he's like, I probably shouldn't. And Mr. Bones is like, oh no, you definitely are. and they're walking along, and Mr. Bones is talking to Footsie about how terrible the judges are, and then basically gives his backstory, which is he was born a mutant, and that meant he had, quote, a predisposition to acts of evil, and so he got exiled to cursed earth before he ever even had the chance to not be evil, and so his exile basically turned him evil.
Right.
And became a space pirate flying around through the cosmos.
Yep.
And while he's flying around, he met the xenomorphs.
I like how uncomfortable Footsie is with this, and he's like, I was strong, cunning, I survived. When I was old enough, I shipped aboard a space freighter. They had no qualms about taking on a mutant with a predisposition to evil. And Footsie's just like, good employers are hard to find. You just
and then in the next panel, like the way Mr. Bones is gripping his shoulders and the look on Footsie's face, you can tell he's like, oh man, I'm fucked.
Yeah, he's just Bones is just guiding him through these underground ruins, like from behind, holding him by his shoulders, and you can just tell that Footsie's like terrified and uncomfortable and just knows he ain't getting out of this. It's translated really well through the writing and the art.
And we have a little brief flashback here where Mr. Bones, before he got all disfigured, is with a bunch of mutants and finds a face hugger, which he blows away with his gun, but the acid splashes back onto him, partially melting him, giving him the appearance he has now.
Yes.
Which is like one side of his face is almost like the skull is almost exposed. He's missing an eye. His lips are gone. Half of his hair is burned away on one side of his face.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly fucked up, and we find out that it's not because he's a mutant. It's because he got melted by xenomorph blood.
Yeah, because when you see him as a before his accident, he looks human. He looks like a human with long hair.
Yeah.
There's like nothing
he sure
mutant
does.
about him. And that's the one thing I recognize from watching the Dredd movie is, Anderson, the rookie in that, the psychic, she's a mutant and she looks human. So like you can be a mutant and pass as human in this world. So they do genetic testing to identify them, which is crazy. So he looked completely normal and could have been completely normal. And then they were just like, no, he's got some mutant in him. So he's exiled.
They shipped him off, and then
he's just out. And the only reason, like, her character, and I believe she does show up in the books. There's at least a character in the books named Anderson, from what I looked up.
Anderson's from the book. She's for a long time she was like almost considered the other lead of Judge Dredd, to the point where they gave her her own comic book called Anderson Psi Division.
Nice.
So yeah, she's like a major character from the.
And the only reason she didn't get exiled is because she's psychic. So they're like, oh well, we can use her. She's a benefit to the judges.
Yeah, like as implied by the name of her comic, like they have an entire like unit of psychic judges, and she's just one of them. But that's like an accepted and known thing. Sometimes you're a psychic. That's just like a regular thing that happens in this world.
Wild. Anyway.
And so, Mr. Bones gets partially melted by xenomorph acid, and then talks about how he became a xenomorph hunter, and along the way learned them, like taught himself their ways extremely well and knew them to the point where, as he says, perfectly designed for the art of killing. He became one of those guys.
Yes. And then he's like, they're not my enemy. They're a means to an end. Yes.
Yeah. And he describes them as a means to an end.
Footy, meanwhile, is still like, oh man, these things are so creepy. I hate them. And he's like, oh no, don't be afraid. Look, I've got this pheromone tag on. It's xenomorph pheromones, everybody. Alert.
It's like this little round button that he wears on his lapel with like a green stripe through it. And that's how, like, anytime you see one of those, that's what that is. It's a little like a pheromone button that lets the xenomorphs not notice that you're there.
Right.
As he says, they'll take you for one of their own.
So in this universe, the pheromones, instead of attracting xenomorphs to you, like in Steel Egg, they are making xenomorphs ignore you.
That's correct.
I like it. I buy it. It's fine. I'm good with it.
This Mr. Bones reveals his plan here is he's going to use the xenomorphs to kill the judges, and then gets mad at Footsie because hiring Godber was Footsy's idea, and then turns out Godber just stole the eggs to use for himself. And so Mr. Bones pulls out a gun and does not kill Footsie with it. He instead incapacitates him and lets xenomorphs drag him away.
Yep. And he's like, they're coming to take you now, Footsie. And Footsie's like, oh, Jovis, no, please, not that. You're sick, Bones. You're rotten to the core. And then as he's being led away into a chamber with dozens and dozens and dozens of ovomorphs, Footsie realizes what's going on, describes him as worse than the judges, and then has the extremely funny line, Grud, help them. Grud, help Mega City 1. Grud, help Mega City 1. I love this last page when Bones is turning his light on, right? And we see this is like an old subway station, so where the track would be is all full of eggs, and the ceiling and the walls are all
far back as you can see it.
And the ceiling and the walls are all lined with people, presumably who have been nested up, hived up as hosts for the xenomorph eggs.
It rocks.
It rules. The art in this is so fucking good. I can't. And then, of course, the complete fourth season of Buffy is now on DVD, guys.
And there's a fucking ad for Golden Sun: The Lost Age, dog. Hell yeah. That game rocks. I love Golden Sun so hard. One of my favorite RPG series. I am very mad they never continued. They made the 2, and then like 8 years later, they made a sequel for the DS, like 10 plus years ago, and they haven't come out with a new one since. I'm so mad. Anyway, the reason we're talking about the ads is because that's how the issue ends. That's
how the issue ends. That's half the series. There's 2 more issues. We've already read them, guys. Spoiler alert. It stays good.
Yeah, it sure does. This comic rules.
Yeah, so there's no need to say if we didn't have to keep reading it for the show, would we keep reading it? Because the answer is absolutely yes. I was in after issue 1. I continued to be in after issue 2, 3, 4. Yes, I was locked in from the start.
Yeah, for sure.
This thing, and I like the way that this thing is building, right? Like issue 1, we had the warehouse scene. Issue 2, the hospital scene, right? And then it has now set up this Mr. Bones guy with this plan, with this xenomorph hive that we know that's going to lead into a large infestation and attack. And what his plan is, like, we got plenty of xenomorph action right off the bat twice, and we're just and we know we're getting set up for even more and more. You know, like I said, there's no suspense in this thing. It's just
there isn't. That's correct.
It's just action on top of action. The action is just building. You know, but man, it was fun to read. I couldn't stop. Like once I started reading it, I just read the whole thing.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
All right. We already know that you would, given the opportunity, keep reading this even if you didn't need to for the show.
Yes.
I have a slightly different question.
Sure.
Did reading this make you want to read more Judge Dredd?
It has made me Dredd curious. How about that?
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I'll accept that.
I will read more Judge Dredd depending on how easily accessible it is for me to get my hands on some more Judge Dredd.
Fair enough.
But I don't know that I will necessarily want to start at the beginning.
I wouldn't.
I'm thinking like I'm definitely going to be curious about any other Judge Dredd crossovers.
Well, there's been a few.
Yeah.
He has crossed over with Predator a couple of times. Technically, this comic is a sequel to the Predator versus Judge Dredd comic, technically, because after this, they do a third one where it's Judge Dredd versus AVP.
Right. Which, by the way, Tom wants to do when we do it on the show. He has already asked.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Shout out to Tom.
And actually, thinking about it now, I cannot believe we didn't have the British guy on the British comic book episode. But anyway,
let's not pigeonhole the guy.
That's a story for another time. Judge Dredd did a crossover with Lobo.
Okay.
As I mentioned earlier, he's met Batman like 3 or 4 times.
All right.
There was a crossover. I don't know if it was a one shot or if it was a mini series, but it's called Trinity, and Judge Dredd meets Sylvester Stallone and Carl Urban as the other 2 versions. Like, he meets the other movie versions of Judge Dredd, and the 3 of them team up to fight crime.
Okay.
There was a few others that I don't remember off the top of my head, but there has been other crossovers. I know
that's the kind of wacky comic book shit I would be very interested in.
Oh, the other one I was trying to remember is actually just from I was going to say a few years ago, but probably more like about 10 years ago. It's Judge Dredd versus Mars Attacks.
Wow.
Like the actual Mars Attacks, like the Ack guys.
Sure.
Yeah. He meets them and has to fight them.
Is there a Judge Dredd Army of Darkness crossover?
I'm not personally aware of one, but there might be.
That feels like it writes itself. But what do I know? Here's a Quora. Someone wrote on Quora, who would win? Judge Dredd versus Doom Guy. As in the guy from Doom.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Doom Guy. Sorry, guys.
I mean, probably
Doom Guy. It is.
Probably. The thing of it is, though, is I'm not going to necessarily say for sure that it is, just because, I mean, I don't know what Judge Dredd's capable of, really, but it probably is Doom Guy.
He's probably capable of dying at the hands of Doom Guy.
You got me there, I suppose. Can't argue with that, I guess.
I am definitely interested in some Dredd comics after this. I probably will read a handful of them. If they're like this, then yeah, I'm definitely gonna wanna check some more out. But I don't know, man. It feels like a lot, right? It feels daunting. So I that's why I'm kind of like, if there's other crossovers, that might be a good way, like a good way in. A good way to test the waters. Yeah,
I'm looking it up right now, and let's see. There has been Judge Dredd Batman 4 times.
Okay.
Let's see. Judgment in Gotham, Vendetta in Gotham, Ultimate Riddle, and Die Laughing. Predator versus Judge Dredd versus Aliens, which we're halfway through reading right now. The Mars Attacks crossover is literally called Mars Attacks Judge Dredd.
Okay.
Let's see. Judge Dredd versus Lobo. Psychic Bikers versus Mutants from Hell.
Okay. All right.
There is a crossover with other 2000 AD characters. They did a comic that does that. Then, like I said, there's the Trinity version, which is where he meets the other versions of him. But it says here that one thing I didn't know earlier is it's the comic version, the Stallone version, the Carl Urban version, and the version from the IDW comics is also in there.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, there's not a whole lot of crossovers. And like I said, most of them have been with Batman. They met 4 different times.
A big multiverse Dredd crossover.
So okay. Yeah. There's not, like, Judge Dredd hasn't crossed over a whole lot with other comics, but there is a lot of Judge Dredd out there. So yeah, if you want to check it out, then just I don't know, look through and find a story that you think looks interesting and just start there. Because let me tell you, it definitely has a different feel than comics we're used to reading. That's for sure.
Yeah, I can tell. But, I'm no stranger to things. I think to similar things. I mean, we talked a bit about how I had a big heavy metal phase, and I don't think that stuff in 2080 is too far off from some of the things that were printed in heavy metal. So, like, I'm looking at this Batman Judge Dredd, Judgment on Gotham. That was drawn by Simon Bisley, right? So, like,
and you saying that makes me realize that heavy metal is actually a pretty good comparison point to 2080. They're both like science fiction, like action anthology comics. It's just 2000 AD comes out every week. You know, that's the difference.
Man.
But yeah, I've heard good things about the Batman Dredd crossovers, so I might also check them out one of these days. There is apparently a book that collects all 4 of them. Okay. So that might be fun to check out.
Hey, if anyone's got good specific Dredd story recommendations, mother@crewexpendable.net, or hit us up on Blue Sky or Threads or any of those places. Yeah. Should we just give the socials now and tie this thing in a bow?
I was just about to say, speaking of, you want to just take that opportunity, just wrap it up and get out of here then?
Yeah, maybe we should. I think we both got some things we got to get done. So,
cool.
Yeah, good book. I can't wait to talk about the other 2.
Yeah, the first 2 issues are really fun, and spoiler alert, the next 2 issues are also really fun. And further spoiler alert, there's only 4. So
yeah, this cover's so good. So I'm looking at this cover again.
Yeah, the cover for issue 2 is so fucking funny, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, I am CYHOBBEZ. I'm still on Twitter. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on 1 or 2 other things. But if you're trying to find me on social media, that's where to find me.
I am on Instagram, Blue Sky Threads @FinalNeil. Where can people find the show?
I run our Twitter account that's still active, which is @CrewExpendaPod. Our Blue Sky is @CrewExpendable. Our Instagram and our Threads, which Neil runs, is @CrewExpendablePod, both of them. We have a website that's crewexpendable.net. As Neil just said, our email address is mother@crewexpendable.net. If you want to talk about Judge Dredd, let us know through one of those various places. And our YouTube page is youtube.com/@crewexpendable.
Yeah. So, hey, send us some recs. If there's a good Dredd stories, send us to them on social media, and then I will remember to engage with our social media more. Yeah. It's your guys' fault that I don't do that.
That's right. We were blaming you for us not paying enough attention to it. That's correct.
Look, we do this part. We will be back to talk. Well, our next episode will be more Aliens Earth. But after that, or if you're skipping those, our next full episode will be Dredd versus Aliens Incubus issues 3 and 4.
Sure will.
So until then, sweet
grud in a basket. Love it.